Hello there, World of Tankers, I'm Blitz, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the M4A3E2 Jumbo Sherman. This is a vehicle that all the way back 2 years ago in update 5.5 used to be on the American tech tree. It was right alongside the EZ8. It was right next to that, and you could grind either from the M4 Sherman to the EZ8, or you could get your E2 Jumbo Sherman and hop onto the T20. Now, I actually have no clue why Wargaming thought it was a good idea to remove this tank, because I actually really liked playing it. It was fun. It was quite a quick vehicle for having a great armor profile. One of the only Shermans that you could actually boast about bouncing shells frontally. It had good armor. It had a good gun. I guess people just seal clubbed in it. Maybe that's why Wargaming removed it. I honestly have no clue. But it is back once again. If you participate in the summer off-season tournaments, you can get your hands on this vehicle as well for playing in the tournaments, if you win at least. If you win tier 10 tournaments, you will get 250 coins each. Now, I'm not sure how it works for the lower tiers because I've only played tier 10, but I did manage to acquire 500 coins for playing tournaments with my clan at least one day because I thought it'd be a little fun. So you can get these coins, and if you play in tier 10 and you're decent enough to win, it's actually not that bad. Even if you're not one of the best players out there, you still should be able to get your hands on this tank maybe after 1 or 2 months of playing, which I actually find is pretty nice of Wargaming. However, the vehicle, yeah, that's a different story. It used to be super fun to play, but if you look at the damage per minute, that is truly awful. 1,550. It has a 6.2 second reload for 160 damage. Now, if you compare that to, let's say, I don't know, your Fury has the same gun, same penetration, but yet, oh wow, look at that, 2,151 DPM and a 4.46 second reload. So the Fury pretty much has every advantage over the E2 other than armor. And is it worth it to trade almost 600, actually more than 600 damage per minute just to be able to gain armor? So in today's video, we're going to be talking about that, talking about not only the armor, but as well, is this tank worth it to actually play tournaments? Of course, if you're playing tournaments as it is, I would say go ahead and get this vehicle. But is it worth it to play tournaments just to pick up the E2, or is it worth it just to skip the time all in all? So what is good about this tank? Well, as I said, it's known as the Jumbo Sherman, which means it's got really good frontal armor, or at least it used to. That was before power creep existed, and Wargaming hasn't touched this tank in 2 years. And this is a great example of what happens to a vehicle if you leave it the way it was, because not only does it now have a terrible DPM for the tier it's in, it also doesn't really have great frontal armor. The upper plate, yeah, it's good. In this match here, we're up against tier 6 opponents in tier 5. Now, the frontal armor should actually do quite good against tier 5 opponents. It's going to bounce, I'd say, about 50% of the shells. But against tier 6 tanks, yeah, that's where the armor doesn't necessarily do fantastic, because, yeah, it's only about 135 millimeters thick on the upper plate, which is decent, but it's not great. That means that pretty much all premium rounds, even from tier 5 vehicles like, let's say, a T1 Heavy, are easily going to be penetrating right through the front of this vehicle. And you'll notice, yeah, the power-to-weight ratio on this tank isn't spectacular, just slowly making my way up this hill, only going literally like 10 kilometers here. Yeah, kind of an issue. The gun really lacks in penetration, only 128 millimeters. So, as much as I would love to say that this is a great tank, it really isn't, and that's the issue. I wanted to say that this was a super fun vehicle to play, but I played it for about, I'd say, 5 or 6 games. I just wanted to get a feel. Of course, whenever I make a video on a vehicle, I want to get a feel of how it plays before I do just start talking about it and rambling on. This vehicle I played for about 5 games, and yeah, I didn't really enjoy it the most, because it's just tier 7s rip you apart. And you can see here that the penetration on this gun is even struggling to penetrate some of the easiest armor profiles in the game. An SG-152 can penetrate the front of a KV-1S with high explosive, but yet me, I'm struggling to penetrate this guy with my standard penetration, which is quite sad. Now, we are penetrating him, but yeah, not necessarily at the best. I can say, though, that this KV-1S, not maybe the best marksman there, missing a couple of his shots. So this was at least a decent game pulled out for the first battle in this tank. Let's see if we can hit that shell. No, this gun also is not very accurate. I really can't say anything great about the tank other than the armor profile, and if we get into a tier 7 match, you will see why the armor isn't so spectacular. So, oh, my teammate just blocked that shell. Well, that kind of sucks for me. We'll see if we can get one more shot out here. Come on. No, we did not. So, this game here, because we were missing so much DPM, we weren't able to get out a lot of damage on that KV-1S. This game was 1,000 damage. Now, that's really poor for a tier 6 vehicle, especially for me on average. We were literally non-stop shooting, couldn't get out our shells, couldn't penetrate them as well, and, well, we didn't even get shot, so I couldn't really show you the armor profile, but the reload just is way too long, and when you're in a tier 7 match, oh boy, let's see the opponents we're up against. So Smasher, its standard pen can easily punch through our upper plate. The Panther can easily punch through, he's got 200 millimeters. The KV2 on the enemy team, well, they will just high explosive us. The M36 can easily pen us with standard, so can the Dracula, and so can the Challenger. So pretty much every vehicle on the enemy team is going to penetrate us. So yeah, pretty much I'm going to be a worse Sherman in this game, and that's why I don't really like it. In fact, if you're not used to playing tournaments, and you don't play tournaments normally, I wouldn't ever suggest to go for this vehicle. I really wanted to say that it was a good tank, but it's just not. It's not a good vehicle. Like, I would much rather sell this tank for 500 gold than play it, because it's not fun to play it. Of course, Tier 6 is supposed to be this fun tier. The Fury is really fun. It's got great mobility. It's got a great damage per minute. But sadly, it's also got a big fat price tag stuck next to it whenever it does show up in the stores. This vehicle, while it may be free to get, there's a reason why, and that's because it's just not a good vehicle. Wargaming, if you're listening, please buff the DPM on the vehicle. That's all it needs, is a DPM buff. Like, just not being able to get out damage, not hitting your shells as well. It really does hurt, and like, I've got to be scared here because every vehicle on their team can pretty much penetrate me. Even that Churchill Mark 6, which isn't necessarily the best tier 6 premium out there, is actually one of the worst, still should easily be able to penetrate me right through the frontal armor. So yeah, you can see there, the guy was all red. I don't even know if I can penetrate him with my premium ammo. Now, there is one nice thing about this tank, and that is a high explosive rounds. They will bounce off of this vehicle, and when I'm in an angle like this, you can see that I'm actually able to bounce quite a few shells off of the upper plate because I am in a gun depression position. This is where the Easy 8 actually does work quite well on the armor. Getting out some shells here at 300 damage now, I would say, or so. So we actually are getting out a fair amount of shots. Not the craziest amount, but I can say it's a fair amount here. You can see literally struggling to penetrate a Churchill Mark 6 with our premium pounds. Yes, I am wonderful with the English language really late at night. I can tell you I'm stuttering on my words. Definitely, if you're doing YouTube, do not post videos late at night. You will deeply regret it, as much as I'm regretting playing this this Easy 8 here. But we are bouncing some shots. As I said, tier 6 vehicles will struggle sometimes to penetrate their shells on you, and thankfully this isn't a bad match for the vehicles I'm going up against. We've got the Dracula to our side here. Let's see if we can get a nice shot in on the Dracula. I don't think we're going to be able to out DPM him here, but we still should be able to get off 2 good shots into the Dracula there. And let's make our way back up here. Let's see if we can deal with the Churchill Mark 6 once again. I'm not sure if we can penetrate him. We're going to load premium here. I'm not even going to take my chances. So we've got the KV2 right in front of us. Let's see if we can get a shot into that KV2. There we go. Nice shot. So we are actually getting out some damage here. It's not awful. We're getting out some assistance damage as well. But you can see that the tank really isn't a damage dealer. 1700 damage. We could have easily been balling in the damage with any other tier 6 vehicle. And like this Panther, yeah, this guy's just going to eat us apart on the armor. So this is where the tank doesn't necessarily perform its strongest. Even almost not being able to penetrate the front of that Panther's upper plate, we are actually doing decent though. I'm very surprised that we bounced that shot. Let's penetrate this side of that Mark 6, finishing him off there. I'm actually surprised that we're doing this well. This is by far the best game I have pulled out in this vehicle yet. Let's see if we can deal with the Panther here. I doubt it. Ooh, actually a very nice tap right in the side of the vehicle. Almost 2,200 damage pulled out in this game so far. Let's see if we can finish off the Panther. Now we do have the KV2, who as well is finished off, and all that's left is the Smasher, which, yeah, you can see I can barely penetrate the guy even with my premium because I only have 170 millimeters of premium penetration. Now, I'm most likely going to be killed here. That heat shell, probably just gonna... Ooh, I got no clue how he managed to mess that up. I think he actually shot us. Yeah, he actually shot us in the turret. So, yeah, nice job there to that Smasher. But actually, a very good game pulled out by the vehicle. But even non-stop shooting, we still couldn't even break that 3,000 damage barrier. I definitely feel that if we had played the Easy 8, the Fury, we could have done way better getting out damage. In fact, this is one of the first masteries I have pulled out for my American vehicles to get in the mastery challenge. So, hey, that's good for me. But you can see for only doing 2,700 damage, getting out of mastery, yeah, I can't say that's spectacular. So, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you're excited to try and get the E2, I definitely will warn you, it's not really that great of a vehicle, but it still is a free tier 6 tank, so can't complain. But other than that, I hope you guys are all doing well out there. Of course, if you enjoy this content and you enjoy me suffering, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. But other than that, I hope you're all doing well out there. Stay happy, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next one.